You say you want some help, but you're hoarding all the tasks because no one can do them properly. This isn't high standards. This is just fair, and it's absolutely keeping you stuck in your business and probably at home too. And then before you start beating yourself up, because I know you're good at that, this makes total sense when you're the primary parent, the safety net, and the one carrying all the mental. Welcome back to the Moxie Movement. Today, I want to get into that anxiety that you really feel about letting other people do the work. And it's probably showing up in multiple places in your life. It's probably showing up at home when it comes to getting the kids to do things, or your partner to do things, either in the parenting or keeping the house running. There are so many things that we do as mums at home that we drag into our business that don't serve us. There is a different context and frame in your business than there is at home, where you're the parent, partner, primary homemaker. And there is when you're an employer, a leader, the person that runs a business structure where there are lots of exchanges of values happening on. Context is really going to matter in the hat that you're wearing in these two roles. This isn't about laziness. This isn't about leadership. This isn't about control issues or being bad at leadership. This is really about your identity. This is about your safety, and this is about your responsibility. When you've been the whole business for years, letting go feels very risky, not liberating like you hoped it would. Really capable women get stuck here. This martyr trap is really easy for us as super strong, capable women to wander into unsuspectingly. The martyr trap is there waiting for all of us. Really so common. Hi, I'm Sarah. I have wandered into it in many occasions because we're capable, right? And so that whole trying to figure out how to communicate, be that capable to someone else is often hard. And I can do it faster. You can do it faster. We know how it should be done. And you just don't have time to train someone else. And so we just keep going and we keep doing it. Because in the moment, it just feels easier just to get it done. The downside to this is the costs. The costs are, by doing that, you have a constant mental load. There's no real backup when something goes wrong or you need spaciousness. And you may not want to hear this, but there are definitely going to be seasons when you need spaciousness. When you first become a parent, you need spaciousness. Then, I'm sure I've told the story before about sitting on the bed in the hospital still after a C-section with Scully, processing payroll. That was the martyr trap there, right there. Someone else could have done it, but there I was, processing payroll. So there's no real backup. Not during school holidays, not when you go and have a baby, not when you're sick, so you end up working when you're sick, which means you take longer to recover. And if you're in your late 30s, early 40s, heading towards your 50s, girl, perimenopause and menopause is definitely going to need you having backup. I would not have survived the last couple of years. My husband will probably tell you it was 3 or 4 years, honestly, without backup. And if you've got this constant mental load, no real backup, and a business that only works when you're working, you think that you're indispensable. And being indispensable feels so powerful until you realize it means you can't step away. Delegation is not about someone doing it your way. It's about someone doing it well enough so that you don't have to. This is where you have to get your head around that 80% done by someone else is far better than 100% done by you. That 20% does not matter. That perfection costs time, costs leverage. And good enough is absolutely going to buy us some freedom. Because truthfully, it's only you and me that notice the 20%. Nobody else does. Nobody else is even mentioning it. You're just giving it way more weight than it should have. Your job isn't this execution anymore. It's about direction. It's about knowing clearly where you're going and directing the resources you have in your business to keep us going in that right direction with momentum. This is about making sure that constant 80% by everyone else is going in the same direction that 100% of you was going. Because if you've got 3 or 4, or I've got some clients that have got as many as 30 team members, if all of them are doing 80% of the 100% the one was doing in you, the business momentum has just got exponentially bigger. Even if you're doing work and you only have one other person that's taking on a whole lot of your tasks and doing them 80%, we still have got significant leverage and way more momentum than we had when you were trying to do 100% of it all yourself. Never mind all the other benefits, the momentum is huge. We want to remove this anxiety piece. The delegation anxiety is real and it's also not helping you. So let's work through how we can fix it. First and foremost, let's start with the low risk tasks. Don't try and delegate the stuff that's tied to your identity, and don't do the stuff that's really tied to the business critical success factors that you have, that if they don't get done or they get done really badly, everything will blow up in your face. Don't try and delegate those first. Think about admin, doing your accounts, minimum follow-ups, prep work, any repetitive tasks that drain energy, they live here. These are low risk tasks. If someone drops the ball or they're delayed a little bit, it's not going to impact anyone in any significant kind of way. Think about, first and foremost, if the business doesn't collapse when this is done imperfectly, then it's absolutely safe to delegate. Low risk task first. And then secondly, we want to think about delegating outcomes, not the instructions. Ultimately, I want you to have systems and processes that mean that they can go, to get to this outcome, we follow the system. But we also don't want to be micromanaging people. I'm not going to be checking in at every step of the system. Delegate the outcomes, not the detailed instructions. Instead of training someone by saying, do it like this, and then like this, and then like this, you want to reframe this to, here's what done looks like. We think about this by saying, if a kid was bringing home a piece of homework from kindergarten or school, a physical picture or a piece of writing that they could show you, here's what done looks like, here's what the end outcome will be, here's what we'll have when you're finished. And when you're clear about what it looks like when it's done, then the anxiety will reduce. That clarity really stops you worrying about them figuring out. And for them as well, they know what the finish line is, they know where they're going, and so it's going to reduce that anxiety for them as well, because most people I know that work for women like you really want to do a good job for you. You have done so many uncomfortable things to get to this point in your life. Some things deeply uncomfortable, because if you're listening to me, you're probably a mother, and you and I both know that motherhood has lots of uncomfortable things they didn't tell you about before you started. Expect discomfort, expect it to be uncomfortable. I don't want you to panic when you first start doing this and think, oh my God, it doesn't feel good, so I'm doing it wrong. It won't feel good. This is a growth step, and so all growth happens outside your comfort zone. This is going to feel uncomfortable. The comfort of doing it all yourself is what's been keeping you stuck, so we have to expect some discomfort here. The first few days and weeks will feel slower, because you've been doing it on repeat, quickly and easily for a long time. Don't expect them to show up with exactly the same skills on day 1, week 3, and week 6 that you've got year 7 or year 3 or the 1,000th time you've done it. We always had this conversation on the cruise. Every start of new season, I'd have some new crew members come up, and so you'd have a lot of newbies all at the same time, and Johnny would say, they're not as good as this team that we had together last year. I was like, yeah, because that team, you're remembering them at the end of their season or seasons that they've been with us. They were amazing. They were working together really well. They had really good team dynamics. They'd learnt things, they'd remembered things, they weren't totally reliant on systems, or they didn't have to be corrected to meet expectations so often, but they weren't like that when they started. And so stop comparing the finished product with the raw product on the first day. That's what we've got to stop doing when we're doing this piece. And so when those first few days and weeks feel slower and clunky, you're going to want to jump back in. That urge is 100% normal. It's not a red flag that you're doing it wrong. Delegation feels uncomfortable. You're doing it right. Hear that again. If If it feels uncomfortable, you're doing it right. Because you're not here to be the hardest worker in the room. You're here in your business to make the work. Because when you're primary parent, when you're household manager and business owner, you don't need any more responsibility. You need to contain your business, and you need to leverage other people who can do the work for school holidays, or when the kids are sick, puts you and your nervous system into fight or flight because you're stressed about what's not going to get done, then this reset is 100% for you. This week, we really want to think about what are the things you could delegate. Even if you just took a pen and paper and wrote down everything you did yesterday, and then circled the things that you did without your brain, without even thinking, and look at one of those things that you could delegate. Doesn't need to be perfect, doesn't need to be optimized, just needs to be handed off simply. You can see really clearly with those tasks what done looks like. You can explain it easily and clearly, or show someone what done looks like. That's the task you want to pick this week. And just remember, delegating something to someone else isn't you dropping the ball. It's choosing which balls you actually have to handle. And if you've got delegation anxiety, where you're worried about giving tasks to other people and they won't do them the same way you, it doesn't mean you're bad at leading. It's 100% normal. It means you've been doing it all for a really long time, and the level of trust that you have in someone else to do it is really low. I promise you that trust increases over time as you let them do it. You give it to them. Expect 10% and then help them incrementally get better at it over time until they get to their magic 80%, and you build this momentum in your business. This is really okay to be worried about someone else doing it as well as you. This step, this allowing people to do it, this letting go, is the bit that will unlock for you in your business. And you might not get the right person first time, and you might have some delegation fails. It's totally okay. It's why you're picking those things that are low risk, that if they're not quite right, the business won't fail. It's just taking a load off your mind. It's probably going to be a lot of the busy work or the admin or the compliance work that has to be done, but it doesn't actually move the needles in your business. But hoarding those tasks is really common, and it's one of the things that's going to keep you stuck doing all the things. We want to get you from doing the work to making the work possible for other people to do. And then we're shifting from really expensive job to a business that runs and supports your life. And that's what we're all about here at the Moxie Movement. We're making sure that you can be present before 9, done by 3, and profitable in between. We start with the basics, with the foundations, with the pieces that make this all easier long term, and done by 3. If you are still on your own, maybe with one team member, the Done by 3 Club is exactly where we build all these structures and frameworks that make your business fit around your life. And if your business is a bit bigger and you've got team members, employees, contractors, a few more moving parts in your business, then inside the Moxie Business Advantage, we're all about lightening the load that it takes to lead that team and helping you keep more of the money. There's always money coming through, but by the end, there's not very much left over for you, yet you're doing more work than anyone else and taking more risk. And so we want to build foundations really well and Done by 3, and then in the MBA, make sure that you've got the structure to, over time, keep lightening your load and ensuring that you get to keep a fair market wage for the work that you're doing, and that the business gets to make a profit too, because both must be true in order for you to have a sustainable business. Till next time, stay Moxie.